Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's a Wrestling Unlimited and a quick vlog coming your way here with the big AEW news, kind of my reaction on all the stuff that went down today in regards to, they've talked about it for months, they announced a TV deal way back in the spring, and now we actually have a tangible date for the very first AEW television show. It'll be on October 2nd, 2019. And they announced the venue as well. It'll emanate from the Capital One Center in Washington, D.C. That's the home rink of the Washington Capitals of the NHL, of course. And I do believe the Wizards from the NBA is as well playing that arena. I think it's a dual-purpose arena. But it's a 20,000-seat arena, so it'll be very interesting to see what configuration they use for television, what sections of that arena will be all kind of taped off, what sort of house they can gather with that. I think you could easily probably pull about 12, 13,000, no problem. In the shadows of All Out, will All Out itself become this building block for the television pilot now? Is that the creative direction they gotta go? Or do we start almost like, I guess, Marvel with the MCU? Are we starting a whole brand new line of pay-per-view events and that stuff from AEW with this television taping? Because don't forget, All Out is kind of the last one that was announced in that big, massive press unveiling back in January and February that they were doing for their schedule for 2019. When the television pilot hits, there'll still be about 3 months left in the year, in what is generally considered a very slow time for the wrestling business, of course, on the other side. Now, you're creating your own company, you're doing your own thing now. You can make that time, really count and really do something. It's just that, are you going to build up into something bigger and better, or are you going to try and carry it on into, building your television product to do something in the springtime or, over the winter? I think there's just way too much time between October 2nd, 2019, and if you wanted to do another Double or Nothing or something, obviously May of 2020, I think you could probably rattle off 2 or 3 big events in there on your pay-per-view schedule and fit things in. So no doubt that we'll definitely hear, probably at All Out, what the next pay-per-view event is and where it will be for AEW. The storylines, of course, will be rolling through there because you got Omega and Moxley as one of the main events for this thing. You've got, as announced yesterday, the kind of the hardcore triple threat freeway death match type deal with Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc, which is going to be a big draw. It's still tons more. You got Hangman Page and Jericho, of course, the main event for the AEW title. Can't forget about that one. Cody versus Shawn Spears. It's already shaping up to be a very big pay-per-view for AEW. I'd like to say that this card is shaping up to be bigger than All In was last year already, just with the caliber of talent on it. It seems a lot bigger and a lot better. Where All In was built on pretty much the novelty of, these guys kind of doing a card by themselves and the NWA World Title match between Aldis and Rhodes. Here you have probably 2 or 3 matches that could be considered main events anywhere on any either independent card or AEW card across the country. So, it's going to be a huge pay-per-view, and I'm very interested to see what will carry on and what will happen with AEW going forward. Now, I just want to take a moment and talk about the Canadian television deal. Nothing has been announced yet for certain up here. However, the industry scuttlebutt, I work in the media industry as my kind of bread and butter job right now, and I have some friends that work with Bell Media in Canada, and they are all telling me that Bell is in deep talks and has been in deep talks with AEW to present AEW on TSN, which is the sports network here in Canada. For those watching this from outside of Canada and so on and so forth, TSN has about 5 channels on every major cable carrier up here in Canada. And the problem is that they created these 5 channels in anticipation of landing the exclusive rights to the National Hockey League a few years ago, and were, I guess, at the last minute, the rug was pulled out underneath them, and Sportsnet, Rogers Sportsnet, which is their kind of main rival in sports coverage here in Canada, grabbed the rights. And so TSN since then has been stuck with 5 channels of basically nothing during the winter. They have regional hockey rights and do some stuff with like some other leagues like the CFL and some MLB stuff and everything on those channels. But as it comes to hockey, that's what TSN has their current cable structure set up for, is 5 channels so that they could have 5 different games on each night of the night, or on each night on these 5 different channels. But now they have 5 channels of nothing. So naturally, you're looking for content to fill those channels. Long story short, I think TSN and AEW would be a perfect mix. You could roll out on a Tuesday night, your show as a live simulcast of what's happening in the States at the same time, which I would think would be the ideal way of going about it. You could run it out as a tape delay as well. It's your network, so you can do whatever you want and throw it on whatever channel if you want to time shift it, and say, hey, AEW's on TSN free this week or whatever going forward. So I think that there is a lot of fire to the rumors of AEW and TSN working together. I would anticipate an announcement on that probably within the next 6 weeks or so, that TSN will have officially landed AEW for the Canadian fans. It seems so common sense that they would go to TSN right now, and all of the chatter in the industry and that stuff kind of reflects that way, that that's what they're going to land and roll out with this fall. So kudos to the folks at Bell Media and TSN for landing AEW when it does happen. And hey, that's what I'm hearing right now, but I stand behind what I hear big time, and I think it'll happen for sure. So what's your opinions on anything and everything AEW so far? Put them in the comments below. Tag me on Twitter @KellenNitro, and let's discuss what's happening with All Elite Wrestling. Later days, happy wrestling watching. We'll see you next time, folks.